Okay, so we are doing the first video on 1.4, and this is on factoring trinomials. All right, so tri meaning 3, right? So these all have 3 terms in them. And those are usually in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so we're going to be looking at factoring things that are starting out in this form. So an example, the first one we're going to actually do that we're going to start on the next screen looks like the problem is going to be 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. Okay, and it's important for you to be able to identify the a, the b, and the c. And those a's, b's, and c's do not contain variables. Okay, so if this is ax squared, the a is quite literally just the 4 that's out in front. Okay, and then the b, so right, this term is this term. Terms are always separated with plus and minus signs. So this is your bx term. So the b here is just the 4 again. And it's important that you take signs with the variables. So this one, the plus c, the c does not have a variable on it. And so this is the -3 is your c term. Okay, these could have different letters, right? Like they could have m's or n's or p's or q's, or varsity is going to give you different letters, a's. But generally we say ax squared plus bx plus c. This is also the quadratic form. So if we're going to factor a quadratic, this is what we're talking about. And what we're looking at is going to two binomials. Binomials meaning 2 terms. Oh, this is not going to fit in here, maybe. Okay, so a binomial times a binomial. And if you were to FOIL these, you could check this by foiling when you're done. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so we're actually going to do these factoring trinomials. We're going to do these 3 different ways, but this is going to be method number 1, and this is called the area method, or we can call it the box method. Okay, so moving along, we are going to, oh brother, my computer's doing funny things. We are going to move to the next screen, and I'm going to show you how this is going to look when you move to Desmos, because you're going to be doing a Desmos activity, and we'll work through our first example. So you're going to see boxes with these 4 numbers in it, and then a table over here on the first screen. So here's what's going to be happening. First of all, remember that this thing, IV, is the Roman numeral for 4. Right? So here's what you're going to do. The 4x squared, this is the a term. And we're going to take the a term and we're going to write it in box 1. So this is going to be the 4x squared. That's going to go into box 1. The a term in box 1. Okay? And then the c term is going to go down here into box 4. And then you're just going to fill that information in over here in the table. So rectangle, it says rectangle, but it's really a box. So the expression here is 4x squared. For these 2 are going to be grayed out. You don't have to do anything with them. And then for box 4, that's going to be a -3. And then it says the product of the main diagonal. So they want the product of these 2 things. Product means, you're supposed to say multiply. Good job. So we're going to multiply these 2 things together and get a -12x squared. And this product is going to be important moving forward when we go to the next screen. Okay? So I've got some things already filled in there, and we're going to talk about how we're going to utilize that. Okay, so here's what we know. we put the ax squared term in that box. We put the c term in that box. And the product of the diagonal was negative 12x squared. And here's what we need to do now. We need to fill in boxes 2 and 3 with two factors, which means they multiply, right? Factors imply multiplication. Two factors that will add or subtract, depending on their signs, to equal the diagonal product. Okay, so I'm going to list, take a minute, write that down, pause me if you need to. I'm going to list the products of 12 over here. I have 1 times 12. I have 2 times 6. And I have 3 times 4, right? Well, the only way I could add or subtract anything to get to 4 is to use this combination. All right, so I happen to need a positive 4, so that's going to mean I'm going to need a 6x minus a 2x. 6 minus 2 is positive 4, and 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. So this is going to be the two things that are going to go into boxes 2 and 3. So I'm going to go 6x up here and a minus 2x down here. Okay? So those also are going to get now transferred over into the table. 6x, negative 2x. There's these buttons down here. Please excuse my dogs. They're very rude. Hey, guys. Please stop. Thank you. I think somebody drove into the driveway. I'm not really sure. Okay, so you're going to hit check my expressions. Over in Desmos, they are going to check those with green checks to tell you that you're right, because if you're not, you can't really move forward successfully with this. If you're not, you're going to check back up here and make sure that you did these things right and that these factors are giving you the right thing that you need. Because if they don't equal that product and they don't add to the B term, this guy, then we have a problem. Okay, so we're going to move to the next screen. And I've already moved things over here, all the numbers that we have. And so what's going to happen here? You're going to see these red lines and these blue lines come out on the Desmos activity. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the GCFs onto these lines. So you're going to put column GCFs here and row GCFs here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do this row GCF. If we take a look at the 4x squared and the 6x, well, we can take a 2x out of that. Okay, and that's all I want is the GCF at this point. And then if I go down here and take a look at this negative 2x and a negative 3, and we take out this row GCF, well, the only thing they have in common is a negative 1. All right, now I'm going to go to these column GCFs. And this one, I have a 4x squared and a negative 2x in the green, so I could take a 2x out of both of those. And then this guy, 6x and negative 3, I can take a 3 out of both of those. Okay? And so then you're going to transfer this information over into the table. So it says first red line. Well, that's this guy. First red line is going to be 2x. The second red line is this one, negative 1. The first blue line is this one, 2x. And the second blue line is 3. And then it says factored form. Well, here's how this is going to work. These two are going to give you a binomial that looks like this, 2x minus 1. And these two are going to give you a binomial that looks like 2x plus 3. And that is the factored form that you're going to type right on that line. Okay? And let me show you really quickly how you could check these to make sure that they're going to be correct. I'm going to take that whole thing and just rewrite it up here. 2x minus 1 and 2x plus 3. And I can FOIL this out and check it. So I have 2x times 2x, well that's 4x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. Negative 1 times 2x is a negative 2x. And a negative 1 times 3 is, oops, that's a negative. Let's fix that. Okay, so back to the pen. So we have a negative 3 in there. And then remember, you have to combine like terms when you FOIL. So 4x squared plus 6x. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. It's early. Sorry. 6x minus 2x is plus 4x minus 3. And this, if it's the same as this, then this is the factored form. And remember, this would be going in here. Okay? So now that we know what's happening, let's try that a little quicker on a few other ones. I have 2 other examples for you to follow along with, okay? So the first one looks like 9x squared minus 3x minus 2. And remember, we're just going to take the a term and put it here. 9x squared, that's also going to go in here. Okay, and then the negative 2, the c term, is going to go down here with the sign. And then you're going to multiply that diagonal together, and you're going to put that into the product box. So 9x squared times negative 2 is a negative 18x squared. And we're going to need to remember that number and go to the next screen, where I've already got those 2 values filled in. Okay, so our product is negative 18x squared. And what I need is for my factors to equal negative 3x, because remember, they need to equal this b term. Okay, so factors of 18. I have 1 and 18. I have 2 and 9. I have 3 and 6. Those are the only factors of 18 that exist. The only way I can get to this 3 is with this 3 and this 6, and then to adjust my signs, right? So negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. So negative 6x plus 3x will equal negative 3x. So this is our goal here, is to make these 2 things the same. And then these values, negative 6x, that's going to go there. And positive 3x is going to go there. Okay, and then they're also going to go into there. And again, I have those transferred over into the other table. I hope they're in the same order over there. We'll see. Oh, I have them swapped. Let me move those real quick so we stick to the same thing. Negative 6x and 3x. Okay, so now those look the same. And remember, once we get here, our goal is to take out GCF. So the GCF here between the 9x squared and the negative 6x is a 3x. The GCF here between 3x and negative 2, well, they don't share anything, so we're just going to put a 1 in there. The GCF of this column, 9x squared and 3x, is also 3x. And the GCF of this column, negative 6x and negative 2, is negative 2. So, first red line, that's the top one, 3x. Bottom red line, bottom one, is a 1. First blue line, that's the left one, 3x. Second blue line, that's the right one, negative 2. So remember, this will create a binomial that looks like 3x plus 1. This will create a binomial that looks like 3x minus 2. And that will go in here, 3x plus 1 times 3x minus 2. And then also remember, I'm not making you do this, but you can check by foiling. So I have 9x squared minus 6x plus 3x minus 2. Combine like terms, 9x squared minus 3x minus 2. So if this is the same as our starting problem up here, then this checks. And this is the factored form. And we're going to be using this throughout the entire class. I mean, not this method necessarily. If you find it bulky, it is a little bit. But for people that struggle with factoring these, the other two ways, if you want to use this, you can continue to use it all the way through class. So I like it because it's helpful for the people that struggle finding the numbers that make things work. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll be done with this method, and you can go work on your Desmos. All right, so I'm going to just make things happen in this one. All right, this guy is 3x squared. This one's 3x squared, and 3 to get 9x squared. You should know where those are coming from at this point. We're going to transfer those over to here. My product is 9x squared. So I need something that multiplies to 9 and is negative 10x when I have the factors. Well, the only thing that's going to factor to 9 is 3 times 3 or 9 times 1. And the only way to get to a 10 is a 9 and the 1. And the only way to make this negative is a negative 9x and a 1x, negative 1x. They both have to be negative for this to happen. So negative 9x and a negative. If you need to put the 1 in here, you can, but it's mathematically better if you don't. So this is a negative 9x and an x. We're going to go to the next screen. Okay, we're going to fill these guys in with our GCFs. So this is going to be a 3x. And because this leading term is negative, we're going to make this a negative 1. And then if we look down here, we have an x. And here we have a negative 3. And so this is going to be 3x, negative 1, x, negative 3. So this is going to look like 3x minus 1 times x minus 3. And again, you could check and go from there. But that would be the factored form. And that's how we use what's called factoring trinomials. Trinomial, right? 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, factoring a trinomial using an area model. Okay, that's what I want you to know how to do. And what you're going to do now is you're going to go and complete a Desmos activity based on these notes. All right. The next video will be on factoring trinomials using grouping. And then the last one will be similar to that, and it's the fastest method, but one that some students find confusing. So they're all a little different from each other, but you might find one that works the best for you. So we're definitely going to cover all 3 of them. Okay? Toodaloo for now.